Joining us today, we have the former two-time Knockouts Impact Wrestling champion, the one and only Deonna Purrazzo. Deonna, thank you so much for doing this with us today.
Thanks so much for having me.
So before we get into everything Impact Wrestling related here, I just want to say big congratulations on your recent wedding. Very exciting stuff. Great way to end the year. Were we
Yeah.
close to seeing that wedding happen inside of an Impact Wrestling ring, maybe?
Absolutely not. I think that if he would have proposed or anything like that relating to wrestling, I wouldn't have said no because I love him, but I would have cringed on the inside.
I mean, it could have been a great way to main event Hard to Kill on Friday, January the 13th. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Our characters are very different from each other. So I think for the foreseeable future, we will not see Steve Macklin and Deonna Purrazzo together on Impact.
That's all right. That's all right for now. Maybe down the road we could see that, because I think that would be an amazing boost there. I want to talk a little bit just about your year and about what's going on in Impact Wrestling right now. A lot of exciting things going on, and let's start off with the big event coming up, Hard to Kill, Friday, January the 13th. As of our recording right now, we don't have a match announced for you yet, but I would love to talk a little bit about the card here. One of the biggest matches on the card is somebody that you have a lot of history with, and that would be one Mickie James, that she's putting her last rodeo one more round here against Jordynne Grace for the Knockouts Championship. I'd love to talk about Mickie a little bit and just how important she's been to your career with all these legendary matches that you guys have had over the last year.
Yeah, I think, I get asked this all the time. Just because Mickie's so like polarizing, right? She's been wrestling 20 plus years. She's done it all. And I think that having someone with that experience, and I was actually talking to her the other day and I said, if you give someone advice or you say, I like this better, or what about this? And we tweak this, like, how could I ever argue that you're wrong? The experience is there and is proof itself that it works. And I can't ever tell you, no, you're wrong, because you've been there, you've done it, you've been successful, you've made money. So having that kind of leader in the locker room, I think for me has been game changing. But I think for everyone in our knockouts division, in our knockouts locker room, can learn something when they're in the ring with Mickie, sitting in the back, just shooting the shit with Mickie, we're all gaining valuable professional and life experience from being around someone like Mickie James. So it's, like I said, been game changing for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only just getting that advice backstage, but actually being in the ring with her. What's the biggest takeaway that you've gotten personally from all of your incredible matches with Mickie?
I think that, and again, this is a similar question I get asked a lot. It's just that she's done everything, right? So the important little details of the storytelling that she thinks are like, this is key to what we're doing, has been game changing for me, and it's just changed my mind of what I think is important. And I've really learned how to like hone in on the storytelling and not necessarily think of like what big moves can I do and what is going to get people talking. It's like the story is going to get people talking. Mm-hmm. The story is what got us to be the first ever Knockouts World Championship pay-per-view main event. The story, not the Mickie DDT, not the Fujiwara armbar, the story and the hatred between the two of us. So I think picking her brain has been the most interesting for me to learn from of what is the best story we can tell and how do we get to what our end goal is, and keep it coherent and allow people to follow along.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that a lot. And with Mickie on her last rodeo, the next person that beats her is going to essentially end it for her. How big is that for that roster? We saw you take a shot at it. We've seen everybody on that roster want to step up. How big of a boost would that be for somebody's career to be the one?
I think that would be career defining. I think if Tasha Steele says I'm the greatest who beat the greatest, right? She beat Mickie James for the Knockouts World Championship. But I think that that's been game changing for Tasha. It kind of leveled her up a little bit. The person who gets to say I retired Mickie James, what else could you do? Like, what bigger thing is there to do besides win the Knockouts World Championship, which after Hard to Kill you might have the opportunity to do, but you're going to retire her? That in itself is just an amazing feat. So I think that it's made our entire division like work harder and get like level up and just like what more can I bring to the table because I want to be the one.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to keep the on this theme of exciting things that Impact Wrestling is doing, and something that I'm personally excited for. Impact Wrestling coming back over to our home country of Canada, coming to Windsor for the Sacrifice event March 24th, and then the TV tapings on the 25th. How excited are you to get back over here and do some work over in the Canadian side of the border?
I'm so excited. I haven't been to Canada since I think 2000 and either late 17 or early 2018. So it's been a very long time for me. And I've never got to tour internationally with Impact yet. So I think that this is a really great place to start. Everyone talks so highly about the shows that Impact has put on in Canada in the past, the fan interaction that you guys have, how much you all love Impact. So I'm really, really excited.
Yeah, and as I'm watching, the tickets are flying out the window. So there's definitely a lot of buzz coming over here. What are some of your favorite moments from your own career working on the Canadian side of the border here?
Oh, I traveled. Me and my trainer, Damien Adams, traveled from Jersey. So it's only about maybe 7 hours up to Toronto. And we went for a Rip Rogers seminar at Battle Arts.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
And I got to wrestle, and I've done it before, but I got to wrestle Damien in an hour-long match for the RIP seminar. And it was really cool because I hadn't met Santino before. He was there. His daughter, Bianca, who is now in NXT and thriving, was there, and I got to meet her before her wrestling career even started. So I have some really great memories of just going up there and wrestling. I wrestled for Destiny quite a bit while I was up there too. And it's always just a great environment. I dreamt as a kid that I wanted to be Canadian. I wanted to be a Heart. I wanted to train at the dungeon. I was so jealous that I was American and not Canadian. So the first time I got to go for that RIP seminar was really, really a big deal for me.
Well, we will happily take you as an adopted Canadian. No problem at all. We're pretty loving over here. So to hear that, we'll definitely be on your side when you return over here. And from a personal standpoint, you mentioned working with companies like Destiny and stuff. I'd love to see you getting there with a great local talent, Alexia Nicole. I think she's just fantastic. I think you guys would really tear it down. So Impact Wrestling, make it happen in Windsor, guys. Come on. I want to keep on the Canadian train here, and I want to talk about one Mr. Josh Alexander and just the incredible year that he is having. What is it about Josh, like for you, like to just sit back and watch him? How incredible has it been to watch his title run for you guys?
Oh, Josh is one of my favorite wrestlers in the entire world. And then also one of my favorite humans. But just to watch, like, again, what he thinks is important, he can just go out there and just do it and not have any second thoughts or anything planned. Like, he is just a wrestler's wrestler, right up my alley. And I'm in awe by all of the matches that he's had. And, he just went an hour with Mike Bailey, like, that, you know what I mean? So I think that anyone that wants to be the world champion, aspires to be the world champion, has huge shoes to fill, because Josh has just taken this world championship reign and got above and beyond and ran with it. So I'm really excited to see what happens with Bully Ray at Hard to Kill, and then who's going to challenge him after. I'm excited to see who dethrones him, because again, it's big shoes to fill, and what is that person then going to do with it?
Absolutely. And, the Canadian pride for us, we love watching Josh, especially with Speedball tear it down. That was really awesome to see. But that's what I love about Impact Wrestling, though. You're not seeing these hour-long matches on television, especially, let alone on pay-per-views and stuff. Impact is such a great alternative to a lot of other wrestling. I think they're putting on the greatest weekly shows. And a great example of that was just a couple weeks ago with that amazing sketch that Deonna and EY did together. Like, when you're watching that, like, what are your opinions on watching that segment? Because I thought it was one of the best things of the year in professional wrestling.
Yeah, I really think that Impact does a really great job of introducing people and then writing people off, right? We saw Deonna kind of kill EY, right? But that's not just what Violent by Design was. EY has been not the heart and soul, because that's someone else's thing, right? But like the heart and soul of Impact Wrestling for 20 years, right? Like, so I think that for them to do him justice all these years and then to write him off in a way that is now building somebody else is what Impact does great. Great debuts for people, but then also really thoughtful ways of saying, like, you did what you needed to do here. You're putting the guy over on the way out, and now best of luck. So I think that it was incredible. I think Impact does really great all across the board in any genre of wrestling, whether it's the serious Violent by Design stuff, whether it's the serious Josh Alexander, multiple times he's done hour-long matches on television, whether it's giving the knockouts another platform for main event pay-per-view matches, for main event television matches, 20 plus minute matches, multiple women segments. I mean, there's just something for everyone in what we do. So it's really exciting to see it. People are giving us a chance again and really investing in what Impact Wrestling is doing.
Absolutely. And this is the best time for people to jump back on that Impact bandwagon, because without a question, it is the greatest weekly television show in professional wrestling right now. And you got to have a lot of fun stuff and a lot of big moments this year too. And I think the one that everybody talks about the most is probably your humongous ladder bump at the Queen of the Mountain match. First of all, how amazing was it for you guys to get that opportunity to bring the Queen of the Mountain to Impact Wrestling, the return of that match? And second of all, what's going through your mind when you're up that high and you're about to take that tumble? Because my God, that was a hell of a bump.
I think when they announced and told all of us you're going to be in a Queen of the Mountain match, it was like, what the heck? I don't even know what that is. Like, and there's so many rules and things like that. But I think once, they kind of broke it down for all of us girls, we made a group chat. We constantly were talking about, what if we did this? And okay, so how does the rules work with this? And just really tried to understand the concept first. And then, talk about ideas, all these things. And someone had asked, like, oh, so D and Chelsea, how do you feel about going off the ladder through a table? And I think we all just thought it was like a joke. And we were like, oh yeah, that'd be great. And then we get there and they're like setting up the ladder to see where it needs to go to fall. And I was like, if I just don't think about it, it'll be fine. And then Chelsea climbs up and I climb up right after her. And we're supposed to be like yelling at each other, like, no, you're not going to do it. I'm going to do it. Are they going to work together or are they going to turn on each other? We weren't a tag team yet. And Chelsea had said to me, like, D, you need to come up one more rung. And I guess I had just like blacked out and been like, okay, so I climb up one more rung. And she says, you looked at me in the eyes, dead in my eyes, and said, I'm scared. And then we fell. I don't know what was going through my mind because I don't remember that. But I remember hitting the floor and being like, we're okay. I'm alive. And then I was like sobbing on the floor.
I think it's so funny that in your group chat, it was just like, you guys are doing this. Like, what does that say about you and Chelsea? Like, are you guys like the crazy ones or something that it's just like, oh yeah, they'll just do it. No problem.
I'm the opposite of a crazy wrestler. I like my feet on the ground. I think that in hindsight, it just really worked. And, then we started to establish me and Chelsea being VXT, becoming a tag team, or Vexed, becoming a tag team. And going from there. So I think that moment kind of really solidified us as like, oh, they're a unit. And we already are a unit, right? Because she was my matron of honor. She is my best friend in the whole world. We spend all of our days together, right? But on television, we hadn't really told that story yet. So it was, I think, again, it just solidified like, oh, they're a package deal and they do everything together. And after the pay-per-view, when we were kind of scrolling through Twitter and saw some GIFs and videos, there was a lot of people with like the GIF. Now the movie escapes my brain, where the two girls are holding hands and they drive off.
Thelma and Louise.
Yes. And how that was me and Chelsea. And honestly, like it's so symbolic of our wrestling careers until this point, what's happened to us in other places. And just we're the girls that are ride or die and we're going to hold hands and we're going to drive off the cliff together. So I loved it. I think that's one of my favorite moments of my career thus far.
Oh, that's amazing. And, from a personal standpoint for you, you must have had a blast getting to work with Chelsea, who's, like you just said, one of your best friends. Is that one of your career highlights, getting to tag with her and winning the gold? And
Yeah, absolutely. We pushed so hard for VXT while we were in NXT to be a thing, for someone to believe in it, right? And um, it was talked about and tossed around a whole bunch of different times in NXT and or I'm sorry, in Impact. And when it finally happened, it was just like a little bit of validation, a little bit of surrealness, and like then was like, oh wow, we're tag team champions and we did it together, and that's what we wanted. There's very few people, I think, in our entire industry who truly have a best friend who you spend every day with in real life, but then also get to work with and have each other's best interest in mind. And I feel very strongly about women's wrestling. If my friends succeed, then I succeed. It's not just about my success, it's watching them thrive too makes me so happy. And I feel like I thrive through them, and I think Chelsea's number one for me in that. And to be able to have those moments together, because our careers have just been separate and people didn't believe in us, and why would best friends be a tag team, and all these things that we were told. And then Impact was like, try it. And it was scary, and we didn't know what the hell we were doing half the time. We were learning as we went on television every week. But yeah, the highlight of my career is being by your side. And when we won the tag team championships, I took them from the ref and I handed one to her and I said, finally. And we just like kind of cried together for a second, and then it was like, okay, suck in, let's get a good picture. But that is our friendship.
That's amazing. That's amazing. As we're coming to the end here, I just have two very, very quick questions. I'm going to put you on the spot here. With the year 2022 coming to a pass, such a loaded roster in 2023, who are some people that we should be keeping an eye out for that Impact roster to step up this year?
Okay, already on our roster. Gotta say my husband, Steve Macklin, of course. I think we're just every time we see him, it's like, oh, that's his breakout moment. No, that was his breakout moment. Just kidding, that was his breakout moment. But I really feel like 2023, his mindset has just changed. He knows what he wants. He's picking up steam, and I want to see him personally wrestle Josh for the title. I'm not going to say who I'd like to win because that's a little biased, but we'll just throw that out there. And then I really want to see what Giselle Shaw can do. We've seen her kind of mix it up with Vex a little bit, kind of hop from tag team to tag team, but she's a phenomenal athlete. And I think that once she gets the opportunity to really shine, we're going to be blown away. So I want to keep my eyes on her.
She's my pick as well for next year. I saw her and Alexia Nicole tear the house down in Toronto a couple of weeks ago. It was a fantastic match. Last question for you before we let you on your way here. With all the amazing things that you've done in your career, what's just something that you look back on, it just makes you smile? It doesn't have to be your biggest accomplishment. Just for you personally, it's just like, that really makes me happy. That's cool. I got to do that.
If we're talking in terms of like impact, I think that last year we did Knockouts Knockdown, where I wrestled Masha Slamovich. And that was really full circle to me. And I look back at those pictures and I smile because I was that talent without a job in 2014. And then in 2016, coming in, working in Knockouts Knockdown. And, the first time I was 18 years old. Yeah, I wasn't 19 yet. Maybe I was 19. I was 19 years old. I was wrestling Brooke Tessmacher. It was my 8th ever professional wrestling match. And it was really, I was totally out of my league, right? And I know the feeling that those girls have when they come in for extra work, when they come in to do tryout matches, when they come in for a Knockouts Knockdown, and the pressure it is. So that was the first thing that came to mind. Knockouts Knockdown last year, getting to be the Knockouts World Champion on the other end of that, and watch these girls thrive.
Awesome. I love to hear that. And you guys got to make sure to tune in to Hard to Kill Friday, January the 13th. And of course, Impact Wrestling coming back with Sacrifice to Windsor, Ontario on the 24th and 25th of March. Deonna, thank you so much for the time. When you get over to Windsor, we got a poutine and a cold beer with your name on it. All right.
Hell yeah. Thanks so much.